Ooh, Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry, and today we continue our Inferno series with part 7. This episode reviews the Uncanny X-Men number 241, or should I really call it the Goblin Queen's Expose, featuring the X-Men, dated February 1989, written by Chris Claremont and penciled by Mark Silvestri. And this issue is titled Fan the Flames. Mark Silvestri is doing his best Justin Timberlake with this cover. Bring a sexy back. I mean, does anyone have a sexier costume than Madelyne Prior, the Goblin Queen? My only complaint about this cover is her face. Yikes. She looks like she licks the windows on the short bus, when normally he draws her face so well. And if you missed last episode, the goblins directly under her, to her left and her right, are actually Jean Grey's mom and dad. Madelyne transformed them into these monsters last episode in Uncanny X-Men number 241, and it looks like Naoster may fulfill his promise to Madelyne by delivering the baby Nathan Christopher to her. Well, at least that's what the cover is representing. We pick up right from Uncanny X-Men 240 with Madelyne Prior coming finally face to face with her creator, Mr. Sinister. He wants her to call him Daddy, old freaky thing. Madelyne Prior lashes out at Sinister with a blast and sicks her goblin puppets on him, which he easily overcomes. I feel like this is a feeling out process, power-wise, for Madelyne, like a boxer throwing out a few jabs in the first round to evaluate his opponent before launching the real attack combos in the later rounds. Well, Sinister hits back with a power punch. Remember, they are in his secret bunker, where he has set up these systems of defense for instances just as this. These chains come out of nowhere. Sinister's defense system, the more power output, the more chains. Naoster seems to have teleported off, seeing that she is now chained up. This scenario and imagery is altogether a bit BDSM for me. The whole call me daddy, I've got the girl who's mostly naked chained up in my secret basement. As he says to her, you're all alone and altogether at my mercy. Sinister is nasty. Wow, what a splash page. We finally see the X-Men. It only took until page 4. And what I do like about this splash page is they put on the names of all the characters. If this was your first ever comic book and you get to this page, you would be overwhelmed as there are 14 flippin' characters shown on this double page. Who's who? I don't like how they put Polaris's name up instead of Malice, considering it is just Polaris's body, but the essence of Malice. But what we can see here is the continuation of the battle from Uncanny X-Men number 240. Colossus was launched by Malice/Polaris from the Morlocks tunnels a mile under the earth, paving an escape route for the villainous Marauders as the X-Men were whipping their asses and hot on their tail. Now that both teams are on the street level of Manhattan, the battle rages on. But we can see in the background the skyline has transformed, quite demonic looking, with both heroes and villains unaware of the changes, more focused on battling their foes. I can tell you from experience, being in the Marines, that position we see Vertigo is less battle ready and more bedroom ready. The humans who are still in the city are being attacked by demonically possessed inanimate objects, such as this mailbox here, or the fire hydrant getting its revenge on the poor pooch. Storm uses her powerful winds to blow back the Marauders, giving Colossus a chance to get back into the battle, giving Riptide a judo toss. In his amazement, Riptide is alive! We learn the steel-skinned Colossus actually killed Riptide in Uncanny X-Men 211, and is shocked to see him risen from the dead. Riptide takes the Russian giant's paws as a chance to catch Colossus off guard, when they are both stunned by the imagery of what looks like to be cops riding a demonic dinosaur creature. Now the battle is threefold, as this is where Riptide tries a ninja star attack against Colossus. Epic fail, as the blades harmlessly bounce off the giant Russian steel skin. We get a glimpse into Colossus' thoughts. He's totally confused with everything going on right now. dude's dead, come back to life, demon cops, the streets are possessed. He feels like he's going cuckoo. The Marauders make quick work of the demon cops. Malice/Polaris, using the Mistress of Magnetism powers, annihilates the demons and tosses the resulting shards and shrapnel at the X-Men. Clever but ineffective against the X-Men. Vertigo, still sitting around on her ass, decides to actually participate in the battle and launches her attack, sending the X-Men to sicken Dizzyville. I will have to say, she does have an interesting power set. It is hard to fight if you're sick, dizzy, nauseous, head spinning. Her attack even floors Wolverine. But Longshot, true to his name, blindly tosses a single-bladed Vertigo, and with his eldritch luck, I had to look up that word eldritch. It means otherworldly or uncanny. Hits the exact target, not to kill Vertigo, but bonk her in the head, disrupting her or knocking her out. Luck powers are super cool too. I'm sure he would totally be banned from Vegas. He would roll a 7 every time. Scalp Hunter goes at Rogue hard, like he did in Uncanny X-Men number 222. But Rogue is ready this time, ready to drop a car in his ass. Psylocke, the Betsy Braddock model, tries to get into the Marauder's head with a Psy attack and put a stop to this fight. But the cries of the children overwhelm her. Remember, Noster and his demon horde are using the babies to make magic pentagram teleportation portals in the sky. The telepath is too sensitive to their cries, and now she seems to be a sitting duck to the evil Marauders. I like how the colorful goblins are just watching on the sidelines, taking bets, not getting involved, resolved to just eat the losers. The X-Men show they won't be the losers in this battle, though, as Havoc comes out blasting full force. No diddy. Not that he has any choice. He can only blast full force as he has no control over modulation of his power levels. Dazzler warns Havoc his blast could kill, and Havoc says, "Okay, I'm fine with that." We pause the battle to travel back to Nebraska, back to the chained up Madelyne Prior. Mr. Sinister reveals that Madelyne has been a tough cookie, a tough nut to crack. She is too rebellious. We learn all of her memories from her childhood were implanted by Sinister, that these memories actually belong to Jean Grey. I think Sinister is trying to break her down shotgun style. But when a character like Madelyne Prior learns she's just a blank slate, she can choose to do one of two things: crumble, or fill that void with anger, power, unbridled rage. And I think we know which option she chooses. I find it totally interesting how disconnected Sinister is from humanity. He's calling Madelyne Prior the replicant and Jean Grey the template, as if they're mere pieces of paper from the copy machine. We see Noster is creeping, watching from the shadows. Does he actually have pity for Madelyne Prior? Interesting. He has his own schemes developing. Apparently everyone has a scheme in this series. But we'll have to check on that momentarily as we travel back to Manhattan as the Wolverine dispatches a possessed mailbox. I will say this costume and color scheme is my favorite rendition of the Wolverine. The almost auburn brown next to the burned orange, the wings on the boots match the wings on the mask, the red belt and claws, long, almost round in shape, more like a cat's claw, versus other renditions that make his claws like razor blades or knives. Tell me down below, which is your favorite iteration of the Wolverine? As Havoc destroys the mailbox with a max plasma blast, as Havoc can only deliver max blasts, we see the humans cheering on the X-Men, but the humans look a little funny if you look close enough, especially old boy in the blue suit. Colossus is just stunned and asks Storm for an explanation. She just says it's New York City. Wow, when has this city been truly great? Someone tell me down in the comments below. Okay, now we're back on Madelyne Prior's storyline. The switching back and forth is a form of storytelling, creating these micro cliffhangers every other page. And with a comic only 22 to 28 pages long, we typically see a lot of scene swapping. This page is fairly important canon, I would say. We learn Sinister had always had his eye on Jean Grey, aware of her power potential, but old bald-head Charles scooped her up first. So Sinister decided to make his own Jean Grey from procured blood and tissue samples. How did he get these samples? Unimportant. But that is how he cloned Jean Grey and made Madelyne Prior. We see this revelation is starting to break Madelyne. She looks like she's crying, breaking at the story of her creation. The problem was that Madelyne never developed powers at puberty, like typical mutants. She only developed her powers when the Phoenix was removed or defeated by the X-Men. That's when Madelyne's powers emerged. So Madelyne was totally connected to Jean Grey and the Phoenix, and when Jean Grey apparently died, so much power became available to Madelyne, I guess. I was like, the power could only be hosted by one version of Jean Grey on a molecular level, and because Madelyne is the clone, she was in queue for the power, and when the original was gone, the clone could then absorb that power. If someone else has a better explanation, let me know in the comments. Either way, Sinister had to wait double time to get his version of Jean Grey, and he's frustrated that he wasted so much time and effort making her when I think he considers her a failure, a failed experiment. Moving back, again, to the X-Men, smiley-faced robots like the one we saw from Cameron Hodges' army have been tasked with eliminating anyone in a costume, villain or hero alike. It doesn't go too well for the robots. Colossus captures one and questions him. Sa'im, who we thought was out of power, is actually the big kahuna, the big man in charge. Colossus is again befuddled. He thought his little sister Illyana, aka the Dark Child, aka Magic, ruled over Limbo. This news and all the paranormal events of the city has pushed Colossus over the edge. Monsters everywhere, and now it looks like the X-Men are beginning to turn paranormal. We see the look on Storm and Wolverine's face. They're becoming more demonic just by being in the city. Colossus's armored skin acts like a barrier, though, protecting him from the unnatural phenomenon that is affecting his teammates. Colossus decides he must abandon his friends and teammates and find his sister and help her sort things out in Limbo Land if he isn't already too late. Mr. Sinister reveals that the DNA of Scott Summers, Cyclops, mixed with that of Jean Grey would produce the ultimate powerful being. And he used Madelyne to do just that. Arranged for the natural creation of their son, baby Nathan Christopher. He set up every domino, every connection, knowing that when Scott met Madelyne, he would naturally fall for her, and nature would take its course from there. But a problem occurred. Jean Grey came back from the dead, so naturally Madelyne Prior needs to be eliminated to cover up Sinister's tracks and plans, and also so he can take baby Nathan Christopher for his own purposes. But his Marauders failed at killing Madelyne, and Sinister underestimated the connection between Jean Grey and Madelyne's baby. He thought he would never be tracked down. Back in Manhattan, Longshot is swinging through the air like he's Spider-Man. I mean, what the heck is he even doing up there? We learn a lot about Longshot, though, from this page. He is an alien. He only has 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. He has luck powers, but he also has 2 hearts. I didn't know that until now. He also doesn't understand Earth culture, that you shouldn't be loving 2 women at the same time as told to him by Havoc, who isn't exactly the pinnacle example of interpersonal relationships, and is scooped up by, well, it looks like Naoster to drain his soul. And down below, the X-Men have clearly been transformed by the demonic energy of the city. Everyone is more monstrous looking and more cruel. Naoster drops Longshot's ass from the top of the Empire State Building, and we see his lifeless body just bounce off the ground. His girl Dazzler is more interested in looking at herself in the mirror, as she is clearly dealing with the overpowered demonic energy affecting everyone in the city. By sheer luck, Longshot appears to be alive, not a scratch on him. His luck powers appear to be in the always-on mode. Naoster taunts the X-Men. Havoc unleashes on Naoster to no effect, and as Naoster transports himself away, he threatens them all with eating of their souls, as he did with Longshot. But first he plans to eat Madelyne Prior's soul. the tasty of them all. I agree. Havoc wants to follow, but as he's been smashing them cheeks for a while, but the Wolverine says they got company to deal with first, bub. And as we travel back to Madelyne Prior yet again, we see her two goblin minions attack Mr. Sinister, giving Madelyne Prior the moment she needs to get herself together and totally break free of the constraints holding her. She is free physically, but also, I believe, psychologically from Sinister, which is bad news for him, I believe, and maybe for us all. Mr. Sinister is in shock. How does she do it? How does she have that much power? Mr. Sinister and the now free Madelyne Prior about to square up and duke it out when Oster appears out of nowhere. Red now, it looks like he's infected with the techno-organic virus, and hands over the baby Nathan Christopher to her as he promised. Now that Madelyne has her baby, I think she plans to burn the whole world down. She gives a new meaning to the "she's hot" term. Stay tuned for the next episode in the Inferno series, which will be in the Fantastic Four, issue number 322, which will be very fun for me. I haven't done a Fantastic Four issue yet. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. Hit that like button and have an awesome day. See you real soon.